Hello and welcome to the TrailManners podcast. This is Singletrack Session number 136. I'm your host, Eric Manning, and we're going to start off a little differently this week. So it is May. It's May 2nd when the show launches. I'm recording on May 1st, and I just went through a little snowstorm this morning that blew through on May 1st. That's right, May 1st. Not too excited about that. I don't know when it's going to let up. We've got rivers overflowing and everything else. I know we need the water, and I'm happy for that, and hopefully the fire dangers are down this year in most areas, everywhere, really. But yeah, happy May. It's here, and I'm sure everybody's in a full swing for the race season, running season, and just hopefully enjoying their time in the mountains. And like I said, we're going to start this a little bit differently this week, and so I do apologize. You're going to have to bear with me for a minute, but something happened this past week that really took me by surprise. Had to take a step back and reevaluate some things. And I'm the type of person, if you know me, and if you don't, you've probably heard, I'm a little hard on myself, right? So I'm always, taking it for the worst, right? So anyway, long story short, this week, I'm going to call it a scathing email. Let's just, for lack of a better word. I received an email. I don't know who it was from. I replied to the email with answers and sincerity, and it bounced straight back. So I don't, they didn't sign it. The email was one of those screwy, weird letter ones. I know it wasn't junk mail because it was my name. Well, my name was spelled correctly, and they had some history. So anyway, long story short, I get a scathing email talking about how the show hasn't been as consistent on Tuesdays, which nailed it, right? And then I get, early in the year, there's been a lot of changes, right? Joel left the show. We talked about doing some different things with the website, intros, all these other things, which totally 1,000,000% fall on my lap. But anyway, this is a long email. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to get into it. In fact, I've deleted it, because I've read it too many times because of the type of person I am. But it was just, kind of calling me out, and it wasn't constructive. It was very rude. I won't call it an attack because that seems a little overboard, but it was extremely rude and personal. Anyway, I'm going to do something now that I will apologize in advance. I'm not comfortable with, but I just want to give a little rundown, kind of how I answered this email. I wasn't upset. I wasn't rude. I tried to answer the questions as they came up. There was a couple of them. And I tried to be honest, because at the end of the day, I understand probably this email or this person, I don't know if they're truly a listener to the show, or maybe, to be honest with you, it's a listener I don't want, regardless. So if you are listening to the show and you're the one that sent the email, I did try and respond, but I think since it was probably a junk email, the response came back, and I encourage you to listen to this carefully. And also, if you want an open conversation or open dialogue, you know how to get a hold of me. But essentially what it was, it just bashed me a little bit on the podcast, how we're not consistent on Tuesdays, the show's taking a dip, everything else. Well, it's not a surprise for me to hear that. Yes, we haven't been consistent on Tuesdays. We've been consistent on Thursdays, though, because that's a little bit easier. But I'm gonna kind of what I said is I said, listen, I didn't know a name, so I just didn't preface male, female, anything. I just was basically like, listen, this past year has been a little rocky. If you listen to the show, I'm going through a divorce. This last little bit, I've been hammering home the Ogden Trail Running Festival, which isn't living up to the standards of participants that Joel and I were hoping for. So a little stress there. Take that heart. I started coaching soccer again, which takes up quite a bit of time. I'm also on the board of the soccer club, which takes up time. I'm on the Ogden Trails Network board. I'm in the middle of selling my home and getting that prepared to sell. I do have a job that pays my bills. In between, mixing in there, I try and run, which doesn't happen as much as I'd like. Obviously, the changes to the podcast have been pretty immense. And I really have been trying to focus on my daughters, to be honest with you, and my mental health and my well-being. So some things do take the back seat, I guess, a little bit, and so I do understand that. But it had me take a step back. So I guess this was some good coming out of it, trying to take it for what it was. When I first read it, I was upset, very angry. took some time, took my dog for a walk. Gunnar listened, he's just such a good listener. I mean, and we'll get to that later, and then I came back, I read it again. I read it probably more times than I should have, and I tried to take a deep breath and understand what I talk about, how there's the quote-unquote trolls out there and different people. But it made me reflect a little bit more on, number one, what's important to me. Number two, what direction I want to go moving forward. I'm not a spring chicken. But I guess what it boils down to is I'm going to put my priorities first. I'm not getting paid to do this podcast. I didn't realize how offensive it was not to launch 2 shows a week. And so I apologize for that. I definitely love doing this podcast. I love everything that TrailManners is about. It's not what I'd like it to be, and that falls 1,000,000% on me. And I've kind of challenged myself a little bit in that realm. Obviously, going through the divorce, there's nothing I can do there. Just time and figure that out. Trail Running Festival will be over this weekend, and it is the last year, so we will not be moving forward with the Ogden Trail Running Festival. So that'll be off the plate. Soccer coaching and being on the board, that is full steam ahead. My passion is there as well. I love working with children, teaching, educating in different levels, not just soccer, but in life and just being a good human being. So that'll stay on the board. The Ogden Trails Network is going to take a back seat. After this year, I will step down from the Ogden Trails Network board. Selling my home, hopefully. We've got an offer. We actually are going in the middle of an inspection today. Hopefully that will be off the plate here in the next, 3 weeks. I think if everything goes through, we accept an offer. Closing date is May 21st, so that'll be done. My real job is there. I've always been focused there because that pays the bills. My running, probably you'll see, hopefully, the biggest change, just picking that up and not putting pressure on myself. My daughters are still the number one priority in my life and will continue to be regardless what I'm doing. And then changes to the podcast. The podcast ranks up there for sure as one of the most important things in my life. Not saying it's important to other people, but it's definitely important for me because I love it so much. The people involved, the messages I do get that are positive, those will always cherish to make these ones I receive just kind of fall by the wayside. I've learned so much from the listeners and this podcast. Obviously, not having Joel is a hit, but there's things I would like to obviously do to make this podcast move forward. And I'm not doing it. I shouldn't say that. That's probably a bad choice of words. I'm doing it just because I love it, really. And so when something comes through like that, it made me question, should I continue? Why am I doing it? But I love it. I really do. Even if the format has to change a little bit in any way. But yeah, I mean, that's where it's at, folks. That's the part that Eric Manning is not comfortable with, kind of putting himself out there a little bit. But I am human. I'm coming to grips with that, especially after seeing Avengers. I realize I am human, considering some of those cool kids. But yeah, it just made me refocus. I had a good little conversation with my youngest daughter. She loves the TrailManners podcast, and she doesn't even listen to it. She just likes wearing the gear, being a part of the festival, all the fun stuff. So I just want to up front just apologize if it's not lived up to what the expectations are. If we've lost listeners, there's disappointment. I do apologize, and I've never held anybody hostage to listen to the show. I hope you do it because you enjoy it. Not just because you are my friend or whatever, but hopefully moving forward, it'll be a couple weeks. I'm going to tell right now before we do a Tuesday show, just with all this other stuff going on, the Trail Running Festival, soccer, we got tryouts coming up for the coming season. I'm on the board. My home being sold is a huge stressor. Hopefully we'll have that off my back. School is about ready to get over for the kids. All these crazy things. So this month hopefully should be a very, very big month in my life, which I'm looking forward to. So just plan, if we get something out in May on a Tuesday, consider that a bonus material. But right now my focus is June, the first part of June, that first Tuesday in June, which I believe is the 4th, to be consistent on Tuesdays. I will continue the Thursday shows. It's a little bit easier to scheduling and timing and everything else. So if you listen to the show for Tuesdays, just know that May might be a little blank, but you could get a sneaker in there. Who knows? I do have guests lined up, and I'll be reaching out to them because we definitely want to continue down the road, which we've started. But yeah, that's kind of the plans moving forward. my goal has always been consistency, and early on when we missed a show, it would gut me. I would be gutted, laying in bed, all upset, and I can't do that anymore to myself, so I'm going to do what I can. But yeah, starting June, we'll be more consistent. Hopefully we'll have some changes in place that I've been hoping for a little bit, have a little more time. I've also got a little bit of help from people out there for some different things, so thank you so much. That's my quick explanation. I'm sorry for the little side note there, I guess. Not something we're used to on the TrailManners podcast, but that's a little bit of behind the curtain, which is, I will tell you right now, that was more difficult for me to talk about than most things, period. So let's move forward. Let's get that behind us. It's May. It's a big month for me, and I'm looking forward to kind of the new journey starting in June on so many different levels. So let's talk about something that's exciting, right? So this past week, we had a listener, Aaron Saft, who sent me a article that he shared, and I've been asking about articles for the website. He shared it. We put it on the TrailManners website. If you have a moment, I can't tell you how much I encourage you to go check it out. It's trailmanners.com. I'll try and put a link in the show notes. But he wrote a little write-up. He is the race director for the Hellbender 100. It's titled A Unique Experience and a Different Perspective. It's awesome. It's short, so it doesn't take a lot of time to read. But it's just such a great human story. Just like we're talking about, I think so much we get caught up in so many different things that you always have that moment or moments in our lives that are those aha moments or those oh boy moments. And this was one of them. It's a great little post from Aaron. I can't thank him enough for sharing that with me, so I can share that with you. But I'm not going to get into it. I just think you should read it for yourself. But and the photo that comes with it is priceless. Kind of goes exactly with the story. So thank you, Aaron, for sending that in. We hope that many of you read that, and we did get some comments on there and a lot of positive things that people that knew Aaron and what he's all about with his race directing and just as a person. So Aaron, let's hats off to you, my man, for that inspiring little article and a little peek behind the curtain as well for that. So thank you. Next up, beer of the week is, I didn't have one. That's right, no beer of the week. I have let you down on that as well. I did not have the time to pick one up, and right now in my fridge I've just got my regulars I've already talked about and reviewed, so instead of being redundant, we'll just skip it. Next week we should have one because I'm going to one of my favorite places on Monday. Because another thing I'm involved with is I've been contacted, I'm not going to get into it, but doing a kids race, separate from what I've done in the past. That's a fundraiser for kids and their athletic teams and sports teams, working with a very large organization that asked me to help out, which I shouldn't be doing, but I am because it has to do with kids. Gosh dang it, my cheese curds helping kids and IPAs. That's weaknesses here, folks. But so I have a meeting anyway next week that's going to put me in a location that is one of my stops for the beverages. So no beer of the week, but I suggest you go have one, and I will have more than one this week. I'm going to talk briefly. I've mentioned it, but I know everybody knows I'm a soccer fan, huge soccer fan. Coaching again, which has been such a amazing experience. So much has changed since I last put on the coaching hat, but my boys are doing fantastic. I can't be more proud of them, how they're learning and growing and understanding what we're trying to do. We only have a couple more games left in the season, but we're crushing right along. Got 3 wins behind us, unfortunate loss, but we're doing well. And we had a game last night, walked away with a 4-1 win in the rain, and we have another one tonight, another tough opponent, but I know none of them listen to the show, which is probably good. But they're doing fantastic. Also, we do have the Women's World Cup coming up. Okay, big event we will talk about on this podcast. I love watching soccer in general, and our women's team is amazing. They always have been, and I've got quite the history with that as well, so we'll be covering that. Next up, we're going to talk about the Ogden Trail Running Festival. That is this weekend. Not many more days of the Ogden Trail Running Festival, period. We are, like I said, me and Joel have met, and this is our last year. We gave it a good run. We put everything we had into it. Definitely didn't come out ahead like we hoped and didn't get the the numbers we were hoping for. Regardless of the numbers, it's still an amazing event, but to make things work and the time and effort by not just us, but our sponsors and everybody involved, you just got to hit those certain benchmarks, and we just didn't, in our third year, we didn't see the growth we were looking for to keep us sustainable. We will still do some things in the area for sure, but it is the last year. We will be accepting Kids K registrations, Gib Wallace race, 4-mile and 10-mile registrations, day of the race, so you can check that out on our website. We'd love to see you there. We still could use a couple volunteers if you have some time. That's 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, May 4th. And then for the Cat Bradley night, folks, that is not sold out. And when I say sold out, I mean freed out. It is a free event. We opened it up for free. We're offering beverages, both adult and non-adult. We're offering food by the Union Grill, which we're paying for. And we're offering deeper discounts at the Amer Sports Factory Outlet. Connor and his crew are opening the doors for that. And then Cat Bradley, just a world-class athlete, classy lady. She's coming into town to talk. It's free to the first 100 people. We do have some seats left, so check that out. It's free. I can't keep saying that, but it's free. I mean, you're getting a great deal, right? Just to even see her. And Joel's going to be there. So if you're tired of me, seeing me a lot, well, Joel's going to be there. You can hang out with that little dude, see what he's up to. So anyway, that's this weekend, the Ogden Trail Running Festival. Check out our website for more information. And I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors that have been with us from day one: Solomon, Amer Sports Factory Outlet, Palisades Ultra Trail Series, the good friends at Putts. Check their race out. The Ogden Trails Network, they do so much for this area. Gear 30, our local mountain shop. Sign Garage, who does everything for the TrailManners group. The United States Forest Service, folks, they're the real deal. They do what they can. They do a good job. And then, of course, Mackenzie Exhibit is the title sponsor for our kids race. Such amazing sponsors. I hope we've represented them well through the years, and I know we'll continue to support them as they supported us. But just great people, and that's, I think, at the end of the day, that's the best thing. The people we've worked with at Solomon, Amer Sports, Putts, Trails Network, Gear 30, Brandon and his crew, U.S. Forest Service, the people in our area, they've been fantastic to work with. And Mackenzie Exhibit is just a first-class organization with just awesome people. So thank you so much. We'd love to see you out there this weekend. Like I said, we got a lot going on this week, a lot of things to finish up on, so we're not going to have the longest show on the planet this week. But, I hope to see you there. Even if you just stop by to say hi, that's awesome. It's just a fun event, cool to hang out. And I'm looking forward to just the swan song, folks. It's a swan song. It's dear to my heart. It's something I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed. I know Joel feels the same way. We'd love to see you there. And a little update on the Achilles injury. The Achilles is feeling better. Yes, it is feeling good. It feels better. Been doing some exercises with it, some scraping with it, and been sleeping with a boot on, which honestly has been a huge relief. But I think one of the things that's helped, honestly, beyond anything I've ever done, and I know we've pitched it, they are no longer sponsoring the podcast, okay? We run that. Hemp Daddies. I put the ointment on, I've taken the drops, and I'm telling you what, without Hemp Daddies, I don't know if I've got through the last couple months with the stress, the anxiety, the sleeplessness. So anything on top of that is a bonus, but I've really been working it with my my Achilles, and I really feel that it's helped. I don't think it's the placebo effect. I'm not saying there's one magic bullet that takes care of everything. I think it's a combination of things. So adding that tool, which we talk about, has been huge. So yeah, check them out, dude. HempDaddies.com. Check them out. You can use code, what do we got? Eric, A-R-I-C, because you spell my name with an A, how it's pronounced, not Eric. It's Eric with an A, A-R-I-C 10 at Hemp Daddies. Get a discount plus free shipping just to give them a try. I know a few of you out there have tried it. I'm interested to hear what you guys think, because I know everything works with people differently, right? So I'm not saying it's a magic pill, but I know for me it works. I'll stand behind it till as long as possible, as long as I'm standing. But I know that's helped for the Achilles, so... but sleep, man. Oh, I love you. I missed you so much. We're like this new relationship I'm getting into. We courted each other for a little bit, played hard to get, but now we're back on. Oh boy. All right. Hey, how about this post I had last week on Facebook? It was question of the week. I like to do those every Saturday on Facebook. This last question of the week, and if you have some questions you want me to throw in there for Saturday, throw them to me, manners@trailmanners.com. I'd love to ask questions. But anyway, question of the week, I said, do you have a four-legged running buddy? I said, let's see some photos of them, right? I've got, and I can say, oh, you can hear him shaking in the background. I don't know if you can or not, but Gunner has been my rock. He has been more than I could ever imagine, period. He's been just an absolute hero, stud, avenger, saving the world. But I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed scrolling down and looking at all these beautiful, beautiful dogs. I'm not going to call them animals. To me, they are more than that. They are, Gunner's my family. He's my little buddy. I mean, we got so many, and I love the names. There's Piper and Ray and Reese. So many fun. Dixie, which is such a cute name. Monty, Finley, Renton. I'm just naming some. I know there's so many out there. Murphy is one I love. Rommel. And someone says, I spend more time picking up poop than hiking. That's a good one. Josie. Just so much fun. Just Dolly, Boomer, Daisy, Raisin. There was another Gunner. So there was another Gunner. Porter, Rockwell, Coda, Judge, Finn. So many cute dogs. Karma. That's such an awesome name for a dog. So many good ones. So thank you so much for everybody that posted photos. Gus Walmsley, of course, is a friend of Gunner's. Linus and Lucy. Here's one. Coach Welchie. I almost named my dog Coach, but that'd get confusing. Ziggy. There's a little puppy, had ACL surgery, and I know someone that just had that for their dog. Diesel, Kenai, Bell, Nashi. Love these names. So thank you so much for everybody that took the time to Teal to share their Alba, Coda. I can't stop. I'm addicted to looking at all these. Ziggy. Look at all these beautiful animals. I said it though, didn't I? Riley and Zoe. Hemi. There's another Gunner. Just so many beautiful dogs. So thanks for posting, Pepe, Kona, again. I love it. And we'll probably do more. But if you have any questions for Ask for the Week, let me know, because that was a lot of fun. I did get some information. I'll be dialing in my Bellingham trip, which I can't tell you how much I need this. I'm looking forward to the running. I'm looking forward to the company, the beverages, the food. But I'm looking forward just to relaxing, man. Come on. Okay. Raise your hand right now if you think Bellingham should give me some kickbacks for their travel and tourism, because I'm crushing it by talking about them, and I don't get a penny. I don't even get a free beer. But I'm looking forward to my trip up there coming up. So Bellingham, heads up. TrailManners is coming through, and he is going to be crushing whatever I can. All right, let's talk some running, I guess. They had the Madeira Island Ultra Trail this past weekend in Portugal. To no surprise on the women's side, Courtney DeWalter, she won. I know that's shocking. On the men's side, Francois, or Frank, he did well, came away with the win. Tim Tollison took third over there. Such an awesome race. But we did have a golden ticket race, and folks, you heard it last week. There was a guy I was rooting for, local, and he won. He got the W. Jimmy Elam came away in 9:23, and Brian Condon came away in 9:38, and they both accepted their tickets to Western States. So congratulations to Jimmy and Brian on the men's side. Super excited to see Jimmy at Western States, a guy we want to get on the show coming up. But not in May. Not in May. We're not having him on the show. Nobody. Unless something happens. Anyway, on the women's side, it says Kat Drew and Kim Mangus. And I think they both accepted as well. And apparently they're both Canadians. So way to go, Canada. Sending them down from the Great White North to tackle Western States. A lot of good athletes there. Darcy finished 8th, which is cool because that's my favorite number, and Darcy's one of my favorites. But congratulations to all the golden ticket winners for Western States, because that's such a huge event, obviously. And we will be covering a lot of that. I don't know if we'll do a contest, maybe, probably. Yeah, we will. And do some other fun things for Western States. But that's kind of the week in itself. There's some marathons that happen, but we already covered Boston. Yeah, that was kind of the week in running. for this past week. All right, what else are we going to cover here? Really not a whole lot. We'll cover WDYFTY. We'll do Strava. We did get 3 Ask TrailManners questions, and it's been such a busy week. One, I did not get a research, so I'm not too educated on answering this one. But let's start with our Strava for the week. Congratulations to Aaron Saft, 106.8 miles. Writes killer articles, race directs, and crushes the mileage. So, Aaron, congratulations. Total run time, Lars Lundqvist, 22:27, and climbing, Arturo Anea, 28,579. He's been up there before, so way to go, all you Strava dudes and dudettes. 576 people part of the TrailManners Strava page. That's a lot, considering we don't do anything. It's just a group you can be a part of. Be a part of it. Go join it. It's cool. How about little WDYFTY? Again, thanks, reach out. Deep thank you to Turtle Miller. The people that were finishing my logo were out of town this weekend, so I'm really keeping my fingers crossed. This doesn't just fall on me for dragging my feet. That's where my feet take me. But get that logo done. We'll get some hats out. But had a lot of great WDYFTY entries this past week from all over. Some nice Jeff Hart. Why do you do that? Why do you have to post Bellingham Bay pictures at sunset? But some really good ones here locally as well. Preston Wood on Shoreline. Boy, I got to run more. I got to get out. I seriously do. Where did my apartment take me? Got a good pictures this week. I narrowed it down to two of my favorites, and I'm waffling back and forth on both because they're both really unique. But I'm going to go with, my two finalists. Okay, here's my two finalists. Garth Harris at the Wedge, which is gorgeous. It's a sunset, beautiful photo. And the next one is, where is it? I just had it. Where is it? Come on, where'd you go? Come on back. Rachael Zeiler from Victor, Montana. I think I'm going to go with Rachael because it's sunny. There's water involved. You know how I feel about water, folks. Mountains, trees. So I'm going to go with Rachael this week. You get a whole year, and we're technically not even giving away hats right now. This is just kind of keeping the momentum going until hats come out. So plenty of room to win. Congratulations to both of you. But we're going to go with Rachael this week. So many great photos. Keep those coming. Let's see if we can get more next week on Sunday on Facebook. Remember, where did your feet take you? Take a picture of where you're running. Great shots. And post it. And then we'll use that for our Singletrack Session for the week. So congratulations, Rachael. All right. Last but not least, we'll skip right to it, and then we'll let you go. And then I've got to assign bibs and pick up shirts and get ice chests and pay catering bills and pick up kids' K-bags. Oh, and I'm coaching a game tonight, take care of my dog, do my real job, see if my inspection of the home went good today. Just a few things, so we'll get right through that. But today, 3 Ask TrailManners questions. Here's the first one coming from Patty in Texas. You mentioned a few... I'm not going to start with this one. That'll be the next one. Let's start with this one. This one comes from Steve, the sunny shores in Cali. All right, Steve. Hey, TrailManners, I'm coming to Utah in mid-May and making Ogden a spot to hit. Any chance I can talk you into a trail run? I will buy the beer after. So my real question is, am I going to have to watch out for rattlesnakes? I have heard they can be thick there. Hoping to hook up. Wait, not that kind of hookup. Steve from Sunny Shores. First, Steve, abso-freaking-lutely. You can talk me into a trail run. Just message me, manners@trailmanners.com. I'd love to get out and show you the trails. You just tell me what you want to do and when you're going to be here. As far as you buying the beer after, you don't need to do that, but I'm not going to say no. We can find a nice little spot down here to have a beer, whether it's Rooster's B Street, maybe it's Slackwater, maybe it's Utah Brewing. We got options here. So, yeah, I'm on board, Steve. And then how about rattlesnakes? Yes, you will. I know it snowed again. It's May 1st, but I know last weekend there was a rattlesnake sighting right off the trail, and it was April, and it wasn't even that warm yet. So my guess is yes. And every year goes, I don't like rattlesnakes. They scare the bejeez out of me. But I think every year they're going to increase around here unless they do something, which I don't know if they really can, like a roundup or I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, you'll probably see them. But if we go early enough or late enough, you may not. Or we could go do the beer first, and then we probably won't care if we see them, but that would be dangerous. So, yeah, you probably will, but I can also give you some beta on what to avoid potentially and what make sure to hit. I know higher elevations you're good to go, but we might have snow. So, Anyway, thanks for the message, Steve. All right, now we'll talk about the one from Patty from Texas. Again, this is Manners Unplugged. What do you call that, behind the curtain? What do you call that when you're kind of spilling beans and being uncomfortable with it, like a therapy session? But here's what Patty had to say. You mentioned a few weeks back about chronicling you getting back out into the, quote, not single world, unquote. You really thinking about doing that? I think it would be hilarious, but maybe scary too. Anyway, how about this for a title? Might sound familiar, wink, wink. TrailManners is bringing you the vert, dirt, and even more dirt. It's a play on dirt. Yeah, I got that. That was pretty creative. Good luck, and thanks for the podcast. Still a favorite after all the years. Please keep it up, Patty in Texas. Patty, I'm on the fence on that still. Some days when I'm in these moods, I'm like, that'd be fun. Other days, I'm like, oh, hell no. And it may not even happen. Who knows? But, yeah, I'm glad you listened to the show that even heard that. I do like your title, bringing you the dirt, or the vert, the dirt, and even more dirt. But kind of funny. Could be fun, but again, maybe not. All right, last question. This is one I didn't get the opportunity to research too much. It actually just came in late last night when I was up working on some stuff. Okay, TrailManners, you've been around this trail running scene for a bit now. Curious on your thoughts about what seems to be a hot topic. And this is me, Eric, talking. I didn't know it was a hot topic. I haven't time to research it, but I will after the show. Not that it helps, but I think the answer is pretty straightforward from me. Some teenager, 15 I believe, just entered the Bigfoot 200 and was denied since he was too young. Apparently, they don't want to take on the risk, and they're making the entrance 18 and older. He needs to be 18, I believe. Okay. I was informed about it from a friend who listened to another podcast. I listened to the podcast, and the guy talking about it was a complete a-hole who thinks way too much of himself. Talked about inclusion, then went on to bash somebody. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Should he be allowed in the race? Cheers, man. Teddy from Colorado. Well, Teddy, I wish I would have had more time to research this. I don't listen to other podcasts. And again, that's not a knock. I think everybody can. I just don't do it because I don't want it to tilt me one way or other, change the show, seem like I copy, whatever, right? So that's why I don't really listen. I've listened to excerpts here and there, like when new ones come out. I'm always interested. For me, it's more about sound, just to hear what they sound like, to see the sound quality level, all that stuff. So I didn't hear the podcast. I don't know what podcast you're talking about. It could be, there's a lot more out there. It says the guy was a complete a-hole. That's a bummer, and I really hope people don't think that about me, but if you do, I guess you do. Thinks way too much of himself. I really don't, so I hope that wasn't about me. I've never talked about the subject, so I'm sure it wasn't about me. So here's my thought on that. 15-year-old doing the Bigfoot 200. Here is the down and dirty, and I guess partly it's not really me preaching, but if the race director says you have to be 18, you have to be 18. Now, is that fair? Yeah, because it's their race, right? I mean, at the end of the day, being a race director, being a runner, being a parent, I think if it's a race, they make their rules. I think we've gotten into a point now where we're so caught up in this, being at the 10,000 feet level that we're just saying everything should be inclusive. Everybody should enjoy this. Everybody should do that. I disagree with that. I think if you have a reason and the reason sounds legit, I think you should be fine. It's your race. It's your business. You're putting it on. Just like, a youth can't go into, drinking age of 21. You can't go into a bar if you're 21. Just stuff like that. That's not inclusive. There's a reason why. Whether you agree with it or not, there's speed limits. Whether you agree with them or not, whether you agree with something or not doesn't make it necessarily right or wrong. It gives you an opinion. Social media has just given us a better avenue to express our opinions, and sometimes those opinions are educated. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes people hide behind social media for their opinions. Sometimes they don't. So it's just this big Pandora's box of opinions, right? Everybody should have them, right? And I know there's things with that, but I won't get into it. I think you should have an opinion. Where I come across is when you have your opinion where you try and make other people, I don't say believe in your opinion. I guess it's a debate and you can kind of lay down what your beliefs are or what you believe. But at the end of the day, if we judge people based on what their beliefs or opinions are, I don't know how much that says about us either, right? Whether it's parenting, coaching, podcasting, race directing, whatever it might be. you're never going to agree with everything. Our society has changed so drastically in the last, whatever years you want to say. You can say 5, 10, 15, 20. You can name a name, and it's still changed drastically. I remember, walking in stores and people smoking. I remember, my dad drinking vodka straight from the bottle, driving down the street. I remember sitting in the front seat with my dad sharing a beer at the age of 9 because I would talk him into saying I'm thirsty, and I hated it, but I thought it was cool. So things have changed, I think, but at the end of the day, if you have something, if your name's attached to something, you have that right. Now, there's people on this podcast I would not want on the show, and that's just based on my opinion. Does it make it right or wrong? Well, that's up to you, right? But it's my podcast. So I think with this race director, I think we all know who we're talking about. Bigfoot 200 race director is Candace. If she makes that decision, that's her decision. If she sees it as a liability, which I'm guessing is what it would be, and I think if I think I looked a little bit into this individual has run 100-mile race before. Obviously, parents are probably okay with it, but that doesn't mean you need to do it. If a parent comes to me and says, "Hey, I think my kid should ride on the front of the hood of your car," I'm not going to do it. It's still my decision. It's still my car. I know it's a stretch, but Teddy, I think at the end of the day, if it's your race, you make the decisions. Now, can the race director get in trouble by not being inclusive? I don't know. I don't know the laws if it goes on Forest Service property and the Forest Service says, no, we let everybody on and blah, blah, blah. I just, to me, I think it boils down to the race director. I think if you feel that that's a liability, and I know you could stretch it the other way and say, okay, what if the person's 75 or 80 and wants to do it? Is that too old? You could even do it that way. I'm not saying that, but I think there's a discussion to be there. But at the end of the day, regardless of what you believe, it's the race Candace's choice. It's her race. So is it right? Is it wrong? Is it fair? Is it not? I'm not here to say any of those. I just think it's their race. So should they be allowed in the race? If the race director says no, the answer is no. And you look at the age, I think 15 to do a 200-mile race. As a race director, I'd look at that. That could be a liability too. It's a little different than 100. You're out there longer. You can say what you need to. I'm not saying don't do or don't, and I'm not going to open that. That's again an opinion, and mine's going to be different than yours. But if it's their race and they say no, then no. I think bashing, I think it says, but then bash, I'm guessing they bashed the race director, whoever this podcaster was, and I think that's wrong. That's more of an agenda probably on their part or a personal thing. And I think we all have that, unfortunately, too. But, yeah, I think it's strictly based on your business. And, my race this weekend, I mean, I would let a 12-year-old run, but we're a 4-mile, a 10-mile. I got someone emailed me and says, hey, it's a kids K. How come my 3-year-old can't run? Because we said 5 and up. Well, that was just a number we threw out there. And if your 3-year-old wants to run and you're cool with it, I am too, right? It's on grass. So I think sometimes it's overlooked. And I don't know the whole detail to all of this, so I can't talk with an educated thing on in my opinion. But at the end of the day, if you're a race director and you say no, that's the way it is. And you may not like it. I may not like what a race director has to do, but I don't have to go run their race either, right? If I don't agree with Hard Rock's lottery, why would I sit and complain about it that I want to run it, right? If I don't agree with their lottery, I don't have to run it, which, again, I'm not saying I don't. I want to run Hard Rock. Western States, any race, anything. If you don't agree with it, if you don't agree with a business, their business practice, don't support them, I don't think we need to go as far as bashing and, going to social media and hammering it out. I think there's discussions to be had, and I think if you can be adult about it and respectful about it, I think those are quality conversations that could educate both sides. But I know, like this email that came to me, those that I felt was kind of, attacking me a little bit, I guess. I could have easily just told them what I thought and where to go and everything else, but I wanted to have that dialogue and say, okay, here's what's really going on. I understand your frustration, but to me, again, at the end of the day, it's a podcast. It's not your life depending on a Tuesday show. I hope that's not the case. There's so many more important things to get upset about in the world, and if that's, where you have to go with it, then I guess that's on you, and maybe you need some CBD oil for anxiety and stress. I don't know, but let's just have those conversations. Again, I think there's open-mindedness can go so far. It really can, regardless of what you believe, regardless of if it's personal, religious, whatever. I think open-mindedness can go so far. And at the end of the day, it's not my place to judge anybody. I judge myself more than anybody else, harder than anybody else, when I should or shouldn't than anybody else. I don't have time to be judging other people, and I'm really trying desperately not to do that, even when I disagree with it. Because if I don't like this owner of a coffee shop, don't go. It's the same thing. If you don't like meat, don't eat meat, right? I mean, it's all choices, and I support, if you want to make a choice and do it for the right reasons, and you don't want to sit and push people to go on either side of the fence, great. Having those discussions are awesome, but at the end of the day, this kid not running the 200-mile race will not make his life any less, right? He can go run 200 miles. We've talked about it on the show. If I don't get into hard rock, I can still go do the course, right? I don't need. It's nice to have the experience of the aid stations and being a part of it, yes, but why do you run? For me, running hard rock is more about the scenery and the beauty of it. If I don't get in, I know I can go run. If I don't get into Western States, and I don't know all the courses, maybe it's private property, maybe I miss a section, but I can still go run that. So it's not about, sometimes I think it's more about an ego and trying to prove something or prove you're right or anything. I don't know, right? Long story, Teddy. Candace can do what she wants. Whether I support it or not, she can do what she wants, and that's the way it is. Go find another 200-mile race for this teenager. When he's 18, he can run the race if he wants to, if it's still going. But at the end of the day, this 15-year-old or whoever signed up for it, they can run something else. It's not going to impact, I don't believe, it shouldn't impact their life enough to where it's not enjoyable, right? I mean, if that's what we're basing our happiness on, then I think we've got other problems. But kudos to Candace for just doing what she's doing. She might make an exception, who knows. But I think thumbs down to the person that bashed it, because I don't care who they are. That's just why, why? At the end of the day, why? Anyway, that's it. That's my little standing on this platform and preaching to you. But it was a question from Teddy. Maybe it's long-winded, but that's what I think. And you have your own opinions, please. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to the TrailManners podcast. I hope you understand where we're coming from. And I say we're, it's me and Gunner. I'm full steam ahead. I'm all in with this baby. There's just things right now that I need to put in order, and in order of importance for me, unfortunately, and TrailManners is not at the very top of the list. No offense to anybody out there. But there's just some pressing things. And it's been rough, folks. It's been a rough go, but we're coming out ahead, and we're plunging forward. Thank you so much. Thank you. I can't say that enough. Keep the questions coming. Keep participating on social media. And if you have ideas and stuff, I'm always open to those. I'm always open to have that dialogue or that conversation. Just tread lightly, because you never know when this dude's going to snap and send an email with a gift that you don't like. So anyway, this is Eric Manning and my trail partner Gunner sitting next to me here. This is the TrailManners podcast, Singletrack Session number 136. We love you. We're here to stay, and we are out.